So we got a new isekai that has just started up. Anime likes to do the new trend where before an anime season's over, a few shows like to start up. And the Loner Life in Another World, I looked at it and I said, hey, nothing else is airing really right now. Why not give it a shot? Pretty fun first episode. Something I gotta give a slight round of applause to is an MC who isn't edgy, isn't insufferable, just kind of like a funny. You can tell he's going to be a bit of a jokester MC, and when the isekai shenanigans starts, he just says, nah, I'm good. He literally is reading, light novel trash, and he's like, hey, I recognize all these trends, yeah, I'm actually, okay, sure, let's do this. And then he thinks to himself, actually, why would I want to get summoned to another world? That sounds like a lot of work and exhausting. It tries to open the door. And I gotta say, some people might want to say this makes no sense, but when I saw him jump into he moves part of the panel and then goes inside, the ceiling to try to avoid the summoning circle, that's kind of smart, I gotta be honest. And, the whole main gimmick is that everyone else in the class got they picked all the best skills at the beginning, and our boy bullied the dude who summoned them so hard that he just said, alright, I'll give you every skill that's left over, now leave me the hell alone. We might have a fun show on our hands, I gotta be honest. Now, of course, I do have full live reactions over on Patreon. We're going to be covering this one over on Patreon every week, up until I don't like it anyway, and depending on how it does on YouTube, we might cover this one as well. Ultimately, this show's fun. Does it revolutionize the wheel? Does it say, damn, I've never seen that before? Absolutely not. But you gotta give the show props where it deserves it. If you enjoy isekai and you've seen enough, having a kind of funny MC that just kind of goes along and kind of is self-aware, and it's not quite a parody, but there's almost like it teeter-totters from being silly isekai to parody isekai pretty well. And while I'm pretty sure by the end of the second or third episode, he ain't gonna be alone in this world any longer, and the title's, well, not gonna really make sense. Because if he's thirsting over class rep, who I double-checked, that's her name. They didn't even give this girl a name, they actually called her class rep, which is hilarious. He's probably not gonna be as alone as he thinks. But it had enough, fun bells and whistles that pretty quickly, around the 8-minute mark, give or take a look at the time, I'm like, you know what? I'd watch a second episode. This show has a fun visual style, nothing extraordinary, but it has, when you look at the goblins as an example, they almost look silly in a similar way to something like a Dungeon People from the summer anime season, but it doesn't completely go into the cartoonish, silly directing, and has something that's more similar to what you expect for an isekai anime. But it does give it that flair that is a little different. It's very clear, though, this isn't probably going to have blood or gore or anything, because, quite literally, there's a lot of shots when he's beating up the goblins. At one point, he blasts them with, a hyper beam. I'm thinking it's going to rip them apart. Doesn't do anything like that. It's going to be a pretty tame in terms of combat, but given the vibe it's trying to give off, I kind of understand and I'm okay with that. I wouldn't want every anime to not, show a little blood and, just because, if you're gonna beat someone senseless, make it look right. But given the vibe of the show, I'm like, okay, I can see why they're doing this. The mechanic, though, at the start is, nothing truly different. But at the end of the day, you don't need isekai or these fantasy shows to be vastly different right from the get-go. Just take slight detours at the start, and depending on those slight detours, you can maybe snowball something into greatness, or it'll just be dumb fun. It is what it is. The idea of the whole collective group being summoned, nothing extraordinary or different, but the idea that because he was hiding inside the ceiling, up top on the panels, everyone else got picked first. So therefore, this old man, basically the dude you'd find at the start of a Zelda game telling you to, go be a hero, here's a sword, good luck. He's just he's freaking out, bro, why are you here? Everyone's already gone. He summoned so many people at once that he didn't have the ability to properly set everyone up. So then everyone got, first choice at, here, pick a skill. They did go over quite a bit of them, and a lot of them really do feel like the leftovers. How would that be useful? Why would you pick that as your intro skill when you got these 100 other ones that are here? But our boy is like, hey, this is all kind of ass. You expect me to pick something, but they're all pretty ass. And he starts quite literally shaking this old man down to the point that he says, you know what, boss? Have literally every leftover. Leave me the hell alone. And in doing so, we're clearly building an OP hero. So one of the skills, which was one that actually caught my eye before he got it, was the dice roll. In terms of you roll 2 die, and it will basically determine, you know, the stat of something. But it's very much a gamble. Like, it wouldn't be a smart thing to pull unless you really were just messing around in a video game. When he rolls it, he gets M's, which means maxed out stat. He puts all of it into luck, and you can kind of see where the show probably wants to go. It's interesting, though, because one of the best things he got was actually the villager bag, which he was like, oh man, who would pick this? But then he gets like a good amount of gear and endless bottomless bag. It's, you know, you can start seeing where it is. The contact ability, which allows him to actually, when he looks at things, gets like a little menu pop up to kind of explain maybe what it is a little more detail. You start seeing how a combination of all these, a singular one, really ain't going to be much to write home about, but when you combine the probably dozen or a couple dozen abilities that he ended up getting, yeah, I mean, it's pretty damn good, you gotta be honest. I liked what they did. It was they had enough little bells and whistles. Not saying this was extraordinary, but it was fun. I'll absolutely say that. This is a very fun episode. And at first, when the MC first talked at the beginning of the episode, I was like, oh, that's not really what I would expect an MC for a show like this to be. But then when C really started talking, I was like, okay, this is the perfect voice for a character like this. Like, he is silly. Like, I like having the characters that know about the tropes and trends, but the fact that this dude, it didn't really give me the impression that, like, he was bullied or beaten or bruised. Like, maybe they'll introduce stuff like that, but he just seems like a loner. Like, he was a loner in the original world, now he's trying to be a loner in this world. Just has social anxiety. There's enough characters that give me stranger danger vibes from his class that could be absolute predators given enough time. But at the end of the day, this dude's just like, listen, I'm not a big fan of people. I didn't want to come to this world initially because I was like, hey, as fun as it is in these stories, it sounds like a lot of work, but now he's kind of excited because he's kind of getting the hang of things. This could be something quite fun. Is it going to be the best show of the season? I would place money on absolutely not, but could this be one that I look forward to every single week? I could see it. I'm going into episode 2 with an open mind. I went into episode 1 with a very like, I imagine I'm dropping this in 5 minutes, and quickly I said, huh, I might be Isekai trash, but this one's pretty damn charming. I don't know, what did everyone think of this first episode? Maybe you never even heard of this show before I made the video, maybe you planned on checking it out like I did. What are you thinking about episode 1? You gonna check out episode 2? Because I definitely will. Depending on how the video does here, when I watch episode 2, you might get an episode 2 video if you want it, so let me know, of course, down below in the comment sections. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're around here. Of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Subject 3, Sarnik, Missing No Leader, Jade, K-Talk, Vesuva Granada, and we also have Michael. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.